Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. I hope you all had a good weekend. Yeah, so there's a lot of feedback on the game, and the good news is that I think that the general vibe, the general consensus is that the game is good. Like, the core loop is fun, the systems that work well work really well together. And that most of the feedback is coming from a place of some weird quality of life things, some balance issues, lack of information being presented to the player. And the good news is that these are all fixable problems, right? Like, these problems are all addressable. None of the feedback was basically like, hey, this game just doesn't work, right? Like, this game is just not fun at all, which is good. So that means that we're on the right track, and hopefully by smoothing out some of the friction, some of the less polished parts of the game, we can get to a part where, like, the experience is just good from beginning to end with no issues whatsoever. I mean, I guess that's a little bit too much to ask, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so I filled out my board again with mostly all the feedback. I think I might have missed one or two things, so I'm going to read back through my little feedback document. But yeah, I got a ton of stuff in the to-do list. Most of this stuff is from the feedback. And then, of course, I've got the new features that I need to develop, a bunch of balancing things to do. And then I've got even more in the backlog here. So we got a lot going on. And yeah, so basically, just going to be trying to address as much of this feedback as possible for the next playtest, on top of adding all of the new systems. So probably going to be quite a lot of work, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Game development is hard, but it's okay. We're gonna get it done. Anyway, the playtest for Alka Mortis is currently ongoing, so if you want to, you can head over to the Steam page, click this request access button, and that will give you access immediately to the playtest. If you so choose, you can also support the game on Patreon. If you subscribe at this top tier, the sponsor tier right here, I'm going to send you an Alka Mortis Steam key when the game launches, so you won't have to buy it on Steam if you support at this tier for at least 1 month. And I'm also going to put your name in the in-game Alka Mortis credits. So definitely check that out if you're interested. You can also support me by purchasing one of my Udemy courses. The links for these are in the description below as well. And the Discord is linked below, all that good stuff. So let's get right into it. Hello, V. Welcome back. Emerson, good to see you. Good morning, good morning. Hello, Jahar. What does it feel like to be the producer of your very own game? It's hard. It's hard, but it's fun. It's fun. You can find out for yourself, make a game, yeah. Hello, Courier Games. I'm making a game like this takes a long time, I bet. It does. Yeah, it does take a long time. I mean, it's, you know, I don't really think of it in terms of like producer or anything like that. It's just, I'm just trying to make a game, I'm trying to make it good, and that is a very, very hard thing to do. It's hard just because there's a lot of effort required, but it's also hard for me, especially because I don't have a lot of game design experience, so I have to kind of fumble my way through figuring these things out, but I think we're getting there. I think I'm learning, and I think that with all of your help and feedback, it kind of guides me on the right track for sure. So we'll get it done. We will get it done. I would never make a game. It would be so good, it would annihilate the game industry single-handedly. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Thank you for doing us all that kindness. Hello, the Dollite, welcome. MRD Boy, thank you for the raid. Very much appreciate that. And welcome to all the people coming over from the previous stream. Hopefully we'll get into some work here soon, but just saying hello to everyone. I'm currently 2 to 3 years and nowhere close to release. Oof. Yeah, I mean, game development takes a long time. It really does. 4-star Yelp review, W raid. Yes, indeed. But if you make a small game, you could do it faster. Maybe a weekend even. Yeah, it's hard. Making small games is really hard too. That's like that's an entirely different skill set. Thank you, MRD boy. Appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Good morning, TK421. Are you making GTA 6? Which Godot version are you using? 4.6. Welcome, Swami Dev. What are we working on today? Well, today what we're going to be doing is I want to address, where did I put that card? What did I do with that? Oh yeah, we're going to be doing some quality of life stuff with the inventory, which should also fix a bug that's happening. So there's like a soft lock bug that can happen as a result of storing stuff on the alchemy board before or when there's like a map transition going on. It's kind of hard to explain without the context of the game, but I'll show you. And I think what I want to do is I want to change this because this is a quality of life issue too. And so I want to change this and make it so that way you won't progress, or the map state won't progress until you're done with doing whatever inventory operations you're doing. And I think I can do this in a very intuitive way. I have a plan for it. So that's what we're going to be trying to do this morning. I don't even know. It's probably not a good thing to prioritize. I don't think I'm going to be updating the playtest build much anymore because this is the last week the playtest is running, and also I got to move on to doing more features and whatnot. But we will probably work on some of the new features after I fix this, if this is easy. We'll see. They can't win on the other website. We got to get people in. Yeah. I just don't have a Twitch account. Therefore, I'm here. I want to address the allegations. Yeah. Where are speech pop-ups? I got rid of that to comply with Twitch terms of service now that I'm streaming on Twitch and YouTube. At what point did you feel comfortable releasing a playtest? It's never comfortable. That's the trick, right? It's never comfortable putting your work out there for everyone to eviscerate, but it has to be done. But in terms of like when it was stable enough to release as a playtest, basically like I just get it to a state where I have a decent amount of fun playing the runs. It's relatively bug-free, at least the bugs that I've noticed, and it's got a good amount of content. And I also want to make sure that it's like a representative experience. So that means that, you know, getting all the sound effects in, doing a reasonable amount of polish and animations to make it feel like a mature game, even with its lack of content and features. Because the whole goal of the playtest is like, yes, I need to collect feedback on the core systems, but it also needs to leave a good impression, right? I can't just like put a playtest out that's a white box. That's not going to work. So it needs to be like a very good or reasonable vertical slice of the game, and also have all the features in place that I want to collect feedback on. So that's how we decide to do the playtests. And basically I just set, you know, a number of goals that I want to achieve, a number of new features that I want to test, and then release the playtest and see how that's going. How do you manage assets you haven't currently used but plan to use later when doing a release? Everything goes into PCK. That's it. It's I don't do anything complicated. I don't do any asset management. That's too much work. It's just everything gets exported with the game, and I may clean that up later. I might clean up the unused assets, but right now you guys are downloading all of the garbage in the game. Slowly removing us from the process always starts with the pop-ups. Hello, Llama Toast. What's this about Twitch? Twitch does not allow you to show merged or combined chat on stream from multiple platforms. So I'm doing an individual comment highlight, which I think is technically not against the terms of service. Do you do releases on Steam and then distribute out the keys? Yeah, I have a whole like automated workflow that has a key pool that detects whenever people sign up for Patreon, and then it distributes the keys. But when it goes to public, you could just set your playtest to be joinable by anyone from the Steam page, and then you don't need to worry about keys from that point onward. Once again, YouTube suffers because Twitch's overexpansive rule set. Yeah, it's all right. I kind of like how there's more room on the screen now, so we don't have all those comments popping up. And I'm still highlighting them individually, so you'll see your comment on screen. It's a first impression, so if the first impression is bad, you might lose people. Yeah, that is a concern for sure. Yeah, if you release nothing, you'll never get anyone, right? It's just as bad to work in a silo and never have anyone try it, and then you release a game that has all these problems that could have been fixed with some playtests. So, didn't know you're streaming on Twitch? Yep, I'm on Twitch. Head on over there if you prefer that experience. Do you ever think of double dipping with the game and course, meaning release a game and then make a course teaching how you implemented each part? I think that'd be really interesting. That's just a lot of extra work. And plus, making an actual game for commercial release takes many more hours than a course does. So I don't know how feasible that would be. First impressions might surprise you. I believe feedback is more valuable than the people you might lose, and they may come back if the feedback is heard and addressed. Yeah. Hello, Joey. How long did it take you to create a playable version of your game? I'm currently developing my first game ever, coming with zero game dev background, but I'm already 7 to 8 months in and making progress. Yeah, I mean, 7 to 8 months without a playable version is quite a long time, but it depends on the scope of your game, and also it depends on your experience, right? Like an experienced game developer is going to be able to make a prototype, a play testable build in about half that time for sure, or less. But, if a lot of your time is being eaten up just by getting stuck on issues and trying to get over that, then I think that's a reasonable timeline. But I would definitely encourage you to start focusing your efforts in the direction of having a playable build now, if you're interested in collecting feedback. When you export your game, you have an action that takes care of putting the PCK on Steam and then distributing out the keys. It's separate steps. So I have a CI action that builds the game, uploads the build to Steam, and then there's a separate workflow. If you've heard of Zapier, it's kind of like a Zapier-like service where I use webhooks to listen for Patreon status changes, and then when those Patreon status changes, this workflow will pull one of the pre-generated keys out, mark that as used, and send an email off to that person's Patreon email address. So it's two different systems working in parallel. So yeah, it's not that, it's not that difficult. I think your game is good enough to work with an early playtest. I've noticed a lot of new people joining the Discord. Yeah, that's for sure. And I've appreciated all the feedback. Ninja Link, good morning. I was looking at your Google Doc, Ninja Link, where you took notes on everything. That is incredibly helpful. I actually pinned that to the Alchemortis feedback channel, I think. So if anyone else wants to take a look. But it's been super helpful for me. Not me going 2.5 years without releasing a playable version. Also have reservations because of early release culture. You know what I mean? Yeah. Thanks. That's exactly the answer I was looking for. You're welcome. Type of stuff that separates amateur dev and the experienced one. Yeah. Well, that's leveraging my previous software engineering experience for my own purposes, which is great. Hello, Wooius. Hello. Welcome. All right, let's get into this. So if I open up the game here, I actually don't know how to reproduce the issue, but I think that this new approach that I want to make for how the drawers are working is going to, what the heck? It's going to fix the soft lock issue. So previously, I think it was something like you go into the combat, you click auto resolve, you open up the alchemy, you put that in the board. Oh wait, I did this in the wrong order. So we take this, we drop this in the alchemy board, and then that would like soft lock it somehow. Yeah, there's like a certain scenario, but anyway, the goal is we don't want to automatically close those drawers when the encounter is over anyway, because a lot of people have mentioned that as a pain point in the playtest where you do your combat, you get your reward, and then you're dragging the card and you want to like use it with alchemy or whatever. But the drawers automatically get dismissed for you when you return to the map. So what I want to do instead here is I want to detect like if you are currently dragging a card. So let's say that I finish this combat and I drop a card in my inventory and then I start dragging a card. I don't want the drawers to automatically close, and I also don't want the drawers to automatically close if I have my alchemy drawer open. So what I'm going to try to do, and this is going to require making a couple of considerations here, is I will switch back to the map in the background while your alchemy drawer is still up, so you don't get interrupted while you're still doing this stuff, right? But there are considerations to make with respect to like the obelisk. So if I go to, let's see, let me open up my event types. Let's see, obelisk is 13. So if I go into an obelisk, we'll generate the test map, turn off the training dummy. If I go into an obelisk here and I do something like I choose this, but then I start dragging cards around, I open the alchemy. Oh, did that not change anything? Oh, I don't think it changes obelisk events. Well, anyway. So what happens is there's a little animation that plays where the camera pans to the nodes that are being changed. I don't want that to be missed by the player either. So if I switch to the map in the background while the alchemy is open, I don't want to do those animations where the player can't really see them happening. So what I'll do is I'll try to wait until the player dismisses this and returns to the map. So whenever you're done with your alchemy or dragging your cards around or whatever, once you dismiss that, then the animation for all the node changes will kick in. So I'm going to need to split up some of the state machine there. Attempted to remove input lock when none were present. That's not good. We're going to have to fix that too. Map recenter button. Alright. We will sweep that one under the rug for now. We don't need to worry about errors if we don't pay attention to them. Anyway, so how is that going to work? So obviously there's a logic of not automatically dismissing things. So let's go to the drawer UI and see where that's even happening. So on map entered, this collapse all is being done. So this is where that automatic collapse is happening. And in my run manager, we have the map entered signal. Emit signal map entered. Set visited, run progress bar fade in, show map, map node effects manager on map entered, clear map node effects. Okay. Highlight visitable nodes. So I think ideally what I want to do, I don't know, where's this map entered signal used? So it's used in the drawer, it's used in the floating eye manager, update positions. Yeah, you know what? I might want to, let's see, map entered. I might need to split up these signals a little bit. Map input layer on map entered. Remove input lock, recenter camera. And then this tutorial guide. I'm gonna have to see how this works with the tutorial as well, but that's all right. So emit signal map entered. We have the state map here. Map node effects manager. Is this an auto load? This is a manager. So I don't know what to do about this signal. I think I might need to break this up as well. Hide game UI was in boss fight. So I think what I need to do here is So I think everything up to this point is probably okay to run in the background. It's this stuff that's going to be the main problem. But now I'm thinking if I should just pause all of this logic until the map is closed. So I almost wonder if I should do like a like if I do a private void state map pending here, state map pending, I will need to store the previous, if it was a trigger. Is trigger node, does that get set to false when I do set visited here? No. Okay. I don't want to change the run map node. I don't want to change... If was in boss fight, pause notoriety penalty, emit post boss map entered. I need to figure out where that's used to. Countdown notoriety penalty. That should probably not go either until I've dismissed things. Yeah. Okay. This is going to be a little bit tricky. There's a lot of disentangling to do in this logic here. Lots of opportunities for things to be broken, but hey, that's where the entertainment factor is going to come from, I suppose. You can all watch me struggle through my own logic. So we're probably going to want a map pending state, which will change into the map here. Now the question is, do I want to store this stuff? Visited undiscovered node. Should show map was in boss fight. That is being set to false here. Okay. So let's do this. Let's do like node was trigger or something like that. And we'll set this to node was trigger. We definitely want to store that up here in the state map pending. The wanted level increase, this can happen in the map. So all this stuff is working. Should show map equals was in boss fight visited undiscovered node. I think this was in boss fight can stay. We're going to do should show map. Let's put this in here. I don't know if this is going to work as an async, but let's see. Emit signal map entered, that's going to be a problem as well. Let's take this out. We don't want to do set visited here, or do we? No, that's probably okay. So obviously these can be merged. So the question is, I think this will work if I go into this state while the drawers are still open. The problem is, what happens if I go from the state map pending to state map directly? That's going to slightly change the order because I think like this pause notoriety penalty, countdown notoriety penalty, all of this stuff, and this emit post boss map entered, that logic is going to change now because the map is going to be shown here first before changing to the state map. But I think that's okay. So what we can do in here is we can do, I think I have a property in my drawer UI here for whether this is open. Is drawer expanded? Oops, I always click the wrong thing. Find all references. All right, well, let's just do this. If not drawer UI dot is drawer expanded, then we're going to change state to state map. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and add that state here. So we got the state map. Let's just go ahead and do, thank you, Copilot, but no thank you. State machine.add state map pending. We'll change it to the state map pending first. Okay, let me just see if that much works before I go any deeper on this. So it should start the game off. Just fine here. So that seems to work. Okay. No problems there. So now we need to look when this is changed into the state map. So let's find all references here. Visit it if not visited undiscovered node. Change state. Let's do state map pending. We're just going to go into the pending state always, and then we'll allow that state to... We will allow that state to just transition back into the state map if the drawer is not open. Okay. I think we fixed all those situations. All right, so now we're going to go to the drawer UI, and where we have the collapse all on map entered. So we're actually going to get rid of this. We don't need to listen for map entered in here anymore. We're going to get rid of that. Actually, do I want to get rid of that? I think I still want it to auto close. Maybe I don't want to get rid of that. I want to still let it auto close. If the player's not dragging anything. So, okay. So let's do this then. I need to streamline some of this too. Is inventory drawer expanded? Where is this being set? Is alchemy active? Alchemy drawer is expanded. Maybe I want to use the alchemy drawer expanded state. Okay, I think what I'm going to want, though, is the state map pending. Let's create a game event for that. I need to break up this class, too. This is where I'm just dumping all of my global events, but I want to create a distinction between, like, game events and UI events. So we'll do that later. So I'm just going to say map pending entered event handler. And then we'll go ahead and add a method for that. Emit map pending event entered. Go to the run manager. We'll just do game events.emit map pending entered right there. And then in the drawer UI, instead of listening for on map entered, we're going to listen for... Oops. Run manager. Oh, wait. I have the run manager directly here. I did not need to make this a global event. So guess I should have paid attention to that. That's all right. Nothing a little copy paste can't solve. Emit signal pending map pending entered. Map pending entered. Okay, so now in here, on map pending entered, we're going to do this. If not alchemy drawer dot is expanded. And let's do var dragon card is equal to this dot get card mouse events manager dot dragging card. Dragon card is equal to null. Then what we can do is we can do collapse all here. Okay. All right. So we'll pause there. Let's catch up on the chat here. Ungi Bungi, any updates on the romance options in the game? Okay. Welcome back, Ungi Bungi. I'm on month 2 of my game. I hope to have a Steam page by June or July, maybe a playtest then also. That's a good plan. I wish I could be Ninja Link after them. I feel like my feedback is always boo-boo key, not work for me. All feedback is useful. I definitely don't expect everyone to go to the lengths that Ninja Link has, but every amount of feedback is great. Even if you just play the game like for 15 minutes and you say, hey, this thing was weird in my 15-minute experience, that is useful too. Like, because what it does is it adds to the data set, right? So if multiple people are saying the same things, then I can say, okay, yeah, that's a problem that needs to be addressed. And then the things that maybe are a lower priority or a little bit more up to my judgment to address are the things that, like, the unique pieces of feedback, right? So somebody says something that no one else has said before. In those cases, I have to kind of think, okay, well, is that just something that the player personally doesn't like? Or is it something that is more applicable to a broader player base more generally, right? So the more people that say the same thing, the more I have confidence that, yeah, this is actually a problem that is going to affect the player experience universally, basically. But if you just say like one thing that no one else has said, then I kind of have to make a judgment call about, like, is that something that I actually need to address, or is that just something that this one player personally doesn't like? And the thing about making a game too is, like, you can't please everyone, right? You can't, like, anytime somebody says something constructive about your game, that doesn't mean that that's immediately actionable, right? Sometimes you have to say, yeah, that's just not part of the game design, right? Or, like, I understand that player's annoyance, but no one else has said anything about that, so maybe it's not worth the effort. Like, that almost sounds too callous, right? Saying, oh, that's not worth the effort to address that feedback. But you do have to, like, manage your time properly, right? And prioritize things. You can romance elf in a jar. You can romance Waterbelly now. This looks sick. Thank you, MRD boy. Appreciate that. I have beaten the boss on my 3rd try. Excellent. Dragonod. Thank you for playing. Appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. My feedback is always this good. Need more of this. Nothing useful. That's useful too. I mean, if you're finding something that's fun in the game that there's not enough of, then that's definitely useful as well. Although I do think I mentioned using the middle click for moving things to the alchemy board from your inventory. Yeah, middle click is an option. Again, I want this game to be playable with like a mouse only, and I think it would be ideal to even go a step further and say it should be playable with like a trackpad only. Like, I just want the game to be dead simple to interact with. And so if you can interact with the game in its entirety with just left and right click, that is the ideal state. Now, of course, I can add modifier keys and additional buttons for the people that want to do that. But this is definitely the kind of game where I want it to be like you could just kick back with like one hand on the mouse and the other hand, like maybe you're holding your cat or something and you can just play the game, right? Hope someone says this good to me when I open my game. Yeah, for sure. Congrats on the new playtest. Compared to the last test, the balance feels so good. Sometimes I have to just straight up restart because I know the build isn't working out. Well done. Thank you, RN Genesis. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, the game's moving in the right direction. That's because of the playtest, because of all the feedback that you're giving me. So I constantly need, not to sound needy, but I constantly need the validation. I need it. No, I do. I do need the validation that the game is going in the right direction. So even if your only feedback is like, hey, the game feels much better than last time, that's useful too. I've had to restart a few times because I completely wrecked my build with negatives. Yeah. Very cool. Congrats. I hate those negatives. Do you use fractional or integer scaling? For the display, I use fractional scaling. Can't wait to romance the necromancer. Hello, Game Devable. Welcome to the stream. Can't wait to romance the necromancer. Yeah. 2 people. Hello, I am Flash. I'm working on my game Alchemortis, which you can check out. The Steam page is linked below. It's a dark fantasy roguelite auto battler where you use alchemy to create your own builds and synergies. So if that sounds fun, consider wishlisting it. That would help a lot. It's time for game dev once again. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Jackie Daytona. 100 gameplay, but with no romance options. All right. All right. Hello, Chris. Good morning. Fox Shadow, welcome back. Good to see you. Good morning. Okay. So we're going to enter that map pending state if we don't have the alchemy drawer expanded and the dragon card is not equal to null, or is equal to null. So if we're not dragging a card and we have the alchemy drawer expanded, we're going to skip this step. Now the next thing to do here is we need to listen for when the drawer actually closes. I think I might have an event for that. I don't. Okay, all right. Collapse all, emit inventory closed, emit inventory open. Okay, so let's go to the run manager here. And we're gonna listen for that, drawer. Drawer UI dot inventory. Am I not in the right spot? Oh, it's a game event, right. Game events dot instance dot connect. Game events dot signal name dot inventory closed. Callable dot from on inventory closed. Okay. So what we're going to do in here now is we will implement that on inventory closed. If state machine dot get current state is equal to state map pending, then we're going to do state machine dot change state state map. All right, let's go ahead and give this a shot and we'll see what happens. It's probably going to be buggy. Probably going to be buggy AF for real, no cap. Okay, so we'll go to the enchant here. And then what I will do is I will drop a card here. I will do this immune to paralysis. I'm going to pop open the alchemy drawer. The map has changed over in the background, but I can still interact with the alchemy. If I close this now, see? It's locked open now, so that's not good. Why is that happening? Do I have any bugs? Nope. Why is that happening? Do I have some kind of like force inventory open or something? Is force expand? Oh, the force expanded is never being set. Play collapse animation is force expanded. Okay, so I think what I need to do here is I need to... I really need to clean up this whole drawer UI logic, but I think I can just toggle that is force expanded off. That should work. I was just talking to my friend about this. I'm enjoying game development again because I'm past architecting grind. Now I want to work on a feature, I can just do it. That clear line of inception to result is ADHD food. Yeah. No, that is a very, very gratifying situation to be in for sure. Sometimes I like working on the systems and making them all feel good and nice and setting myself up for future development, but at some point you just want to get into the development. So if I close this now, that has revealed that. Perfect. So you can see that that reveal was delayed until after I actually entered the map. So it's going to be like, I really want to test it with the obelisk here because that plays some animations. So this transforms 3 nodes into reagent nodes. If I click this, but then I open up my alchemy, and I go here, and I close this. Oh, I can't close it. Close that. Now it should do the obelisk transform event here. Okay, perfect. Now let's make sure that the auto closing also works. So if I beat this combat and I don't do anything, so if I just grab a card, this should automatically handle closing that for me. Now that is a little bit weird. That's a little bit of a different transition than what I had before. And I think it's due to those awaits that I have waiting for the animations to finish. But before I kind of fix that sequencing, let me do this, and then I'm going to start dragging a card as well. So I'm going to drop this on, and I'm going to start dragging this. Okay, that's not correct either. So that is a state that needs to be handled. So if I don't have the alchemy drawer open, let me think about this. If I'm dragging a card and I don't have the alchemy state open, it doesn't have that dimmer component on it. So it keeps the inventory open when I'm dragging, but it doesn't have the dimmer component. So I need to show that. Oh, I guess the problem with detecting dragging is that maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe, would it be okay if I just don't detect dragging there? Also, I have a bunch of errors. Tempted to remove input lock when none exists. Cool. Clickable control, map container. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out why that's happening now as well. So maybe we'll just do it based on the alchemy drawer for now. Maybe we don't do it based on the dragon card. Although I do probably want to handle that case. So if I go to my booster and I take some cards here, drag this, but then I start, just take this, drag this one, drag that. That all disappears. I should probably handle that case. We've got a bunch of errors suddenly appearing here, so I guess I will handle the dragon case. I just need to think about how that works. Maybe I want to set is force expanded to false all the time when we enter that map pending entered. But for the dragon card, maybe what I should do else if not alchemy drawer dot is expanded. We're going to open the alchemy. So maybe we'll just pop the alchemy open. Does open alchemy? Yeah, that shows the overlay. So maybe we'll just pop the alchemy open since that's the default state, right? So there's kind of a couple of different states that the drawers can be in here. The default is you open the inventory that opens both of the side drawers, right? But then the other state is I just go into an upgrade and it just pops this drawer open. So I think it makes sense in this case if I drop a card here and I take this over and then I start dragging it, it should pop the alchemy open so that it returns to the default state. And that will also show that overlay that dims everything. And then as soon as I close this again, it will do the continuation of the map there. So I think that makes sense. So we'll just, if we're dragging a card when an encounter ends, we'll restore the drawers to their default state by popping open the alchemy, and that fixes all those issues. So I think that makes sense. Now we do have this issue of all of these. Oh wait, that's not happening anymore. Why is that not happening anymore? Those errors that were saying attempted to remove input lock when none was present. Interesting. Why did that disappear all of a sudden? Oh, that didn't work. Okay, attempted to remove input lock when none were present. So we should probably nail down why this is happening. Map container 140, run manager 239. Is there a way to go to 239? There we go. Oops. Highlight visitable nodes, current run map node. Why did this break all of a sudden? Oh, does this show map? Hold on a second. Okay, hide game UI. So none of these things are changing the clickable state. So highlight visitable nodes. Set up validity, clear clickable validators. That's not relevant. Emit signal node revealed. What's going on here? Map container 140. Enable input. Where is this happening? Disable input. Enable input. So there's an issue here where these are not being sequenced correctly. Enable input. So this is input is being enabled after we call highlight visitable nodes, but this is indicating that we didn't disable the input on some of the nodes, I guess. Map container move to node, disable input, move player to node. That's going to do all those things. Okay, so this will go to the event state, on event state machine finished. Change to mapper card reward. Change to map pending. Hide game UI. Change the state map. Well, let's just do this. Go to the map container. Map input disabled. I just want to see if this is being called out of sequence. I think it is being called out of sequence. Let's see. Anyway, let's catch up on the chat. I'm in the architect phase now, building arrays and upgrade system that functions properly. I just got that with some help from my friend. Dialogue system is mostly in place. Very nice. Spent the last 2 weeks pulling hairs out, but I think I've gotten past the hard parts for now. Until the next hard part comes up. Hello, Bubblegum Lord, welcome. Think I'm ready to do another devlog? Nice. Hello, Shadow. If an individual uses game development, specific... Oh my gosh, I can't read. If an individual used game development, especially Godot, using C# for learning will it beneficial for him, her, for other dev careers? Because game development programming definitely teaches pattern. Well, I think programming is programming. Like, any context in which you use it is obviously going to cause you to learn the general programming skills. I don't know if like game development experience is going to be exactly applicable to other careers beyond just, hey, you learned how to program. Because developing software, like traditional software, is a lot different than developing a game. in a lot of ways. Even just like the common frameworks that are used in the software development world are quite different than like a game engine, for example. So yes, getting the general programming skill is definitely helpful, but I wouldn't say that you're going to be able to just go to a job and say, hey, I've been building games for 5 years by myself, therefore you should hire me as like a .NET API developer, right? It's like, I don't know if it's going to be that easy, but it certainly helps. Yeah, I would say. Alchemort has completely derailed my plans for the weekend, already at 12 hours. Oh my gosh, 12 hours played? That is absolutely amazing. Wow, thank you. I still don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. E6S. I'm glad you like the game though. That's very, even with the game in its sort of rough state now, the fact that you can get 12 hours of enjoyment out of it is like, look, I will consider the game a great success if most people who buy it play the game for like 10 hours. Like, that's a great success, right? Obviously, I want to provide more than that. I'm not saying there should only be 10 hours of content in the game, but playing any game for 10 hours, I think, is like quite an accomplishment for a developer. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, 4-star Yelp review, for gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Very generous of you. Thank you. Imagine middle clicking from Alchemy to put back the last place it was placed. Yeah. So like I said, I'm hesitant to introduce new controls. What I'm trying to do is just make it intuitive with the limited set of controls. So if I can intuitively place the card back to where it previously was, then I'll just do that without having to introduce another control for the player to remember when they're moving things around. Like, this is part of the whole constraints method of approaching game development, right? It's like, how much intuitive functionality can I squeeze out of just 2 buttons, left and right click, right? And I'm gonna try to just do as much as I can with that and only introduce like new keys or middle mouse or whatever when there's an absolute need for that, when it's obviously going to do something that I can't do with 2 mouse clicks. But ideally, the game would just be so intuitive to interact with just left and right click that I could have all of this different functionality that's like contextually aware, I guess you could say. I guess that's the end of my statement. If we type devlog, we see thousands of videos. Most are not dev focused and they have more views. Yeah. I mean, YouTube is a whole different beast too, so that's a totally different skill set as well. Thank you for the subscription, 4-star Yelp review. Very much appreciate that. Thank you. Mine tend to be short and just show progress and jank. Reloading your project related to those errors. I don't know. Those errors are my own custom errors that I wrote. So there's definitely a logical problem here. It's on the dev. Which critic is actually worthy of noting it down? Yeah. Did I do all the art for this game? I did, yes. All the art is hand pixeled by me. Welcome to the stream, by the way, Nathan-san. Even with a degree these days, yeah. Getting jobs a lot more complicated. I'm down for an easier option. Middle click is just what comes to mind. Yeah, for sure, yeah. I'm not saying I won't use middle click for anything. I'm just saying we'll try to do as much as we can with the left and right click alone, and then we'll see. We'll go from there. Oh, we didn't. No issues there. There's a very specific circumstance where something is happening here that I need to figure out. Oh, that was broken. Okay, let's take a look. Map input enabled, map input disabled, map input enabled, map input disabled, and then we have 2 enableds happening at the same time. Why is that happening? The only place where this enable input is called is here in the state map travel and in the highlight visitable nodes. Is this being called twice? Oh, you know what? It is being called twice. So if I close the inventory before this state has finished, yeah, I think if I close the inventory before this state has finished, so state map pending has some animations that are being played here, and these will take a certain amount of time. And then that state will finish and it will detect that the drawer is not finished. It will change to the map state, but then it does that twice. It could potentially do that twice. Oh, but this on inventory closed. Oh, I see. If it gets automatically closed. Okay, so if it gets automatically closed, this signal is being handled. The signal handler is running. So I need to rethink this a little bit. What I might do is, instead of doing awaits here, let me think about this. I don't know if I want to do awaits here. Ideally, I just want this all to execute immediately, but I still want this sequencing to work, I think. Hide game UI, or do I? Let me look at my old run manager here. So what was the sequencing previously? It hides the game UI, then it shows the map. I guess that was the sequencing previously. There's still some weird sequencing things, but I think I just need to make it so that this is not blocking this here. And also, maybe I don't need this part either. Well, hold on. I wonder if it's just as simple as this. Hold on a second. If I just do var is drawer initially expanded. Maybe if I just store the expansion state here, then I say if not is drawer initially expanded. Although what happens if I open the drawer while this is happening? Maybe I do need that check there. So I think the big problem is that this inventory closed is firing when this collapse all happens. And that's happening automatically here. So it's detecting that it should automatically close, but then it's firing this state change, but then it's also doing the state change again here. Ideally, I only want this to kick in if this state has done is finished executing. So fundamentally this async is the problem here. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. That is an interesting problem. Looks amazing, thank you. The only real way to break into the industry right now is to have been in it for at least 5 years. Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, like, probably just making your own game is easier than trying to get a job elsewhere. I mean, they're both hard, but... I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about, though. I don't have an interest in working for anyone else. Like, if the solo game development thing doesn't work out, then I'm just going to go back to being a normal software engineer. You know? It's like, the thing about what I want is I don't want to make somebody else's game. I don't want to just be in the game development industry doing grunt work for a game that somebody else is designing. Like that kind of just takes away all the fun from it, you know? Anyway, what am I going to do about this? I don't know what to do here. I could introduce another state potentially. So if I do something like private async void state map transition, maybe I could break this up into another state where I do emit signal. Where am I using this pending entered? Do I want to do this state map transition and then do state machine dot change state? State map pending. Maybe I just get rid of this here. I don't think I need this anymore. Yeah, because what the drawer UI will do is it will detect if it's going to automatically close, and then if it closes for any reason, either because the player closed it or because the inventory was closed, then it will transition into on inventory closed here, and we'll change into that map state. Now the question is though, yeah, maybe that'll work. I don't know. Let's try it. So we're going to go to the state map transition first. That might work. I don't know. It might work. Hello, ItJoy. Welcome, welcome. Pay and conditions are awful compared to regular software dev too. That's what I've heard, yeah. Hello, Stray Pointer. If I could give any advice to anyone getting into software dev, game dev, or business apps, it would be to learn and truly understand version control. Yeah, that's a good one to know for sure. All right, well, I do have a problem here, actually. Shoot, I still have the same problem here. Maybe we skip this state. Maybe we do this. If drawer UI is drawer expanded, then we go into the state map pending there. Else, maybe we just skip straight over that and go to state machine change state map. So we only go into the pending state if we have an active drawer. Maybe that'll work. And I also have to, wait, I also have to change this. Wherever I'm changing into state map pending, this needs to be state map transition. We'll get this fixed. Hi, Twin. How's the playtest going? It's going well. I think a lot of people are liking it. We'll try soon. Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I think people are liking it. I'm getting a lot of good feedback. Lots and lots and lots of good feedback. So we'll definitely need to... yeah, that transition is kind of weird there too. So there's some things to smooth out, I think. Yeah, that hangs around for too long too. Oh, the sequencing here is going to be a problem. Because again, it waits for these things to finish before it goes into either the pending state. Let's see, run manager. But I don't actually understand that. I don't actually understand that because... oh, emit signal map entered is happening after hide game UI, but before show map. So maybe I just need to fix that because right now it's not changing to that pending state. So I actually don't need an await here, I don't think. Maybe I just do the show map like that. I don't need to await that. Maybe that will fix it. So I really only want to await the hide game UI, but everything else can just go on as necessary. So I do this, upgrade, grab this, hold on to that. Okay, that looks like a much nicer transition. And then I go here and everything moves when I close it. I shouldn't be seeing any other debugger errors here. Okay, so let's do this then. Let's go ahead and run this. I'm going to open up the alchemy. Actually, let's do this. Take this, open up the alchemy, start doing some alchemy here. Do this. Get my result. Okay, then close. Oh, wait. Close this. And now everything moves again. Okay, perfect. Now I want to try the obelisk now and see how that looks. So if I go here, we do an obelisk, board growth node, open up the alchemy drawer here, do some alchemy, do this. Okay, close this now, and now it's going to show me that the obelisk has changed. Cool. All right. Is that working now? I think that looks good, actually. Now let's try it with me not opening any drawers at all or dragging any cards, and I'm just going to bring this over, and it's going to automatically close everything. Perfect. Okay. So I think we're more or less back to the state that we have currently in the game, with the addition of kind of pausing things from happening if I'm actively working on stuff, like if I'm dragging something. That will open up my alchemy. And I close this and it opens up. Yeah, it zooms in. Now what happens if I do this? If I do an upgrade and then I take the card and I pick a card up and then release it. Okay, yeah, so it's only if I'm currently dragging a card by the time it wants to automatically close. So that works. Add at least 2 cards to the pot. Okay. So I think this is working actually, which is really good because that should make things a lot nicer. So that's just a little quality of life improvement that a lot of people have commented on. And the transition still works well. So if I close this now, yeah, cool. All right. And I don't have any errors either. Awesome. So maybe there's still a bug or two here, but I think it's working. So I'll just leave that there for now. That should be much, much nicer. Now I do need to check the boss. Let me just do that really quick. I never tested the boss, and I didn't also test the trigger nodes either. I'm pretty sure those are going to work, but let me just see if the boss works as expected. So what I should see is the same thing. If I hit my notoriety level, if I go into this node and I hit my notoriety level, so I close this, I open up alchemy, it shouldn't transition into the boss automatically until I close the inventory, and then it transitions into the boss. Okay, perfect. Now let's just, well, that's probably fine. And then let's also do, the trigger nodes here. I'm just going to set 100, 200 here. I'm almost 100% positive that this is going to work as well, because all that logic didn't remain changed. It just doesn't change into that state. It just doesn't change into that state until I'm done with my inventory. Aw, fudge. Just curious, how many players have you gotten for it? Just wondering what it looks like compared to mine. Let me see. I think I can look at it. There are currently 506 players with playtest access. Thank you, Budget Jim, for your Prime subscription. That's awesome. Thank you. Very much appreciate that. How much wish lists do you have now? Did the playtest increase it? I have like 2,000 wish lists, which is not nearly enough. The playtest EXE I have still shows 1:30:26. Is that correct? No, that's not correct. I just pushed a build last night, so the latest version should be February 8th. So I would definitely, maybe just uninstall and reinstall if Steam is not auto-updating it, but it should auto-update. Thanks again, Budget Jim. Yours says the same thing. Okay, well then, it's probably fine. Do my task method configure await false, it will fire and forget? Oh, yeah, but I could just do the discard too, that works. Want to make sure I'm current. Yeah, PCQ file does have today's date. I guess that would make sense as the primary update file. Yeah. Yeah, so straight pointer, yours sounds like it's out of date then. Maybe launching the game changes it. Oh, maybe, true. Oh, okay, gotcha. Gonna reverse engineer your financials using those numbers? Well, I gotta make a really big marketing effort here real shortly, but I have something in the works regarding that, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have around 800 registered, but I have mine up for like 2 months. Yeah, I think that's really good actually. That's awesome actually. 500 players on a playtest is solid. Yeah, I agree. More than many full games get. Yes. Yes. So I'm happy with it for sure. And I almost don't want too many people trying to playtest because I'll just have way too much feedback to sift through. So I'm okay with the playtest being a little bit smaller for sure. Okay, I'm trying the trigger nodes, right? Just need to get wish lists. Yep, wish list is going to be the big thing. Like I've said before, like if the game is finished but my wish lists aren't that high, then I will just like sit on the game until I do like a real marketing effort and drive up the wish list. I'm definitely not going to release the game with a low wish list count. So, you know, the timeline here as far as the release is not only like what's the state of the game from a development standpoint, but it's also going to be what's the state of the game from a marketing standpoint. I'm not just going to release the game when it's done, right? It's like I need to be smart about it. So there has to be a genuine marketing effort made on this game before I feel comfortable releasing it. Okay, so I got the inventory open. I do this. Okay, perfect. This is a much better experience, I think. So I'm happy with that. So improve sequencing of drawers when player interacting with alchemy after events. This is not going into the playtest though, because this is a relatively big change and I don't want to brick anything in the playtest. So Like I said, I think the playtest build is basically going to be frozen. I might push a couple more bug fixes to the playtest build, especially the ones related to crashing. But everything else is just going to go in the master branch from here on out, and you'll see these changes in the next playtest, which hopefully is not going to be too far away, but we will see. Just looked at the Steam charts, looking pretty good so far. I did find a fun marketing strat though. My game has cats, so I'm reaching out to a bunch of cat social media accounts to add their cats to the game. Oh, that's awesome. That's a very clever idea, I think. That's very cool. Is the reason why you're holding off because you don't want to get an immediate set of wish lists? The Steam algo won't favor your game and it will be in purgatory? Yeah, I mean, I think it's just generally advisable, at least from what I've found, that you want to release your game with a certain set of wish lists to get some momentum behind the game. I think it does probably help with the Steam algorithm because I would assume that the initial sales velocity affects how often your game is surfaced to other people, and you'll get a higher initial sales velocity with a higher wishlist count, obviously, right? Because if you have like a 5% wishlist conversion rate, then the way to increase your velocity is to increase your wish lists, right? Now, obviously, this is all guesswork. Like, the Steam algorithm is not public information. But it just makes sense, right? Steam has a vested interest in selling as many copies of your game as you do, right? Like, it's a win-win situation. If your game sells 10,000 copies, then Steam sells 10,000 copies, right? And so you just want to make it as favorable as possible to yourself in terms of how many wish lists you sell in a short, or how many copies you sell in a short period of time. And then, I guess the conventional thinking is that will get Steam to be incentivized to expose it to a larger audience as well. But again, this is just all from what I've watched and read online. 10K wishlist should be the minimal goal. That's hard, but I don't think you'll get there. That's way too low for me for this game. It needs to be much higher than that. 10K is good, but it needs to be much, much higher than that. Master branch, you say? Yeah. Or like the solution to handling the menuing, very, very intuitive. Yeah, I like it too. I think it works out good. How many wish lists do you need? I want to have like tens of thousands of wish lists, if possible. My ambitious goal for this game is to sell 50,000 copies. So that's kind of like the guiding principle. I know 50,000 is a lot, but I think it's doable. And if you aim high, you miss high, right? Hello, DigiNanigans, welcome. 10K wishlist is low. It's too low for my purposes. It's too low for what I want to accomplish for the game. Again, it's all relative, right? If you've never sold a single copy of a game before, then 10K wishlist is amazing. If you're in my position where your future as an indie game developer is basically hinging upon the success of this game, then 10K is far too low. Far too low. Have you done any looking for content creators to reach out to? If so, any strategies that work? Find just searching YouTube to be rough after a point. Yeah, I'll talk about that more when we get there. We got some stuff in the works that may or may not pan out. I heard that if your game gets enough wishlist, Steam tries to make sure you get a good placement when it launches. Yeah, that's true too. I think Watt mentioned that number in one of his devlogs. I think Chris Zukowski mentioned getting at least 7K wishlist really help with visibility as a snowballing numbers kind of thing, but maybe I'm remembering wrong. Do you already have an idea of how you're going to market Alchemortis YouTube video paid ads? Well, I am doing somewhat like this stream as a marketing effort. It's not a very effective marketing effort, but I am building a community here, and I'm sure many of you who like these kinds of games are going to be talking to your friends about, hey, look at Alchemortis. So these streams are kind of a marketing effort. It's not super effective as marketing efforts go, but that is one of the reasons why I stream. And then the YouTube devlogs, of course, but then the big way to do it obviously is to get content creators to play your game, but I can't do that at this stage of the game. Like, that needs to be done much closer to when the game is actually releasing. I don't want to be in a situation now where somebody picks up my game, plays it, shows it off to their audience of like 100, gets 100,000 views, and the game doesn't come out for another 6 or 12 months or whatever. That actually happened with Gunforged. I released Gunforged in the Next Fest, and a couple of bigger channels picked it up and got like tens of thousands of views on their videos, and then Gunforged didn't come out for like another year and a half. So it's like, I kind of squandered that opportunity. So I don't want that to happen again. Like the marketing and the visibility and who plays the game and when has to be a little bit more of a controlled process rather than just like, hey, here's this game, go and play it. And now, oops, I'm not ready to capitalize on it, you know? You follow who makes Monster Tamer games? Reached out to YouTuber with paid placement. Looks like it worked great. I have heard that paid placements are kind of dangerous to do because you want the person playing your game to actually want to play it for their audience. And if you pay them to do it, they may not be as invested in it. And I think the audience can sense that. So, you know, I think it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, yeah, paid placement can get you on a YouTube channel, but then if the viewers can tell that this personality that they're following is not really into the game, then that can kind of backfire. Building a community is good, yeah. Hope you'll sell a lot of copies. I will be happy for 200 wishlists. Yeah, like I said, it's all relative. If you've never sold a copy of a game before, then hundreds of wishlists is good, right? Friend games are built in marketing, yeah. I've talked about your game to my barber. He said he'll check it out because he likes deck builder roguelikes. Awesome, thank you. Just finished the jam and I'm tired as hell. Feels very good though. Yeah, finishing a game jam is very, very nice, very fun. This meta game dev discussion is why I watch. Yeah, and I should also just say again, like I'm just a guy. I've sold like what was it? I think I've sold like 3,000 copies of Gunforge now. So I have sold a couple thousand copies of games, but I'm just a dude. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure this out like the rest of you. And maybe I'm a little bit farther than some of you on that journey of like figuring out how to get all this to work. But I would caution you against taking me as an authority on like how to market your game and how to sell copies. Like that is not yet my area of expertise. I can teach you anything you want to know about the Godot engine, no problems, but you know, don't take my thinking with respect to like game design and marketing as something that you should be following. I would definitely caution you against that. Created my Steamworks account today. I'm waiting for confirmation to create my game page and upload the demo. Plan to submit to the next fest that happens in June if I'm not wrong. Yeah, there are several next fests a year. I think there's like 4 a year. So it's like 1 a quarter, basically, I think. Hello, GLNO52. Now this dude looks like a real programmer. I got the whole look going on, I guess. Welcome to the stream. Need to do better, understand how the marketing will work between now and then. Can you send your barber my game too? That's what I love about game dev. We're all lost and confused, yeah. My next haircut is in 2 months. I just like hearing what other people are doing. For sure, yeah. I just want to make sure that I'm not positioning myself as like an expert in marketing and game design because I'm definitely not that. So I just don't want to make sure anyone has any misconceptions about where I'm at currently. Teach me how to integrate Walmart with Godot, please. All right, okay. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick 3-minute break, and then when I come back, we are going to hop back over to one of these major features that I'm doing. So we were working on setting up the framework for meta progression, and I actually did a whole bunch of refactoring. Actually, I need to switch over to that branch. I did a whole bunch of refactoring on my context and how data is passed through the game. Let's force push that. Okay. So you can see here, like all these files changed here. I am streamlining the way that data is passed through the game. And this is all in the service of, if you remember, we started setting up this run statistics manager, which is sort of this way of tracking everything that happens in the game. And the goal for this is to make it so that, again, the meta progression system in this game is going to be goal-based progression. So the way that you unlock new cards, the way that you unlock new characters, there's going to be like mini challenges that you have to complete to do that. So one challenge might be apply 1,000 or deal 1,000 total poison damage, right? And then once you do that, maybe you unlock a new character, or maybe you unlock a pack of cards or whatever, like, and those cards get added to the loot pool so that when you go into the game the next time, now you've got even more cards that could potentially show up during your run. I don't want to do the meta progression style like we've talked about, where you just earn this kind of like currency during a run and then you get to spend the currency on upgrades. I don't like that system at all in any game that I've ever played. So I think goal-based is the way to go. And we're going to surface those goals to the player. So we'll say, hey, you'll unlock this mystery character, this character that's currently silhouetted. You'll unlock this character by defeating 4 bosses or whatever, right? But all of that is going to be driven by collecting those statistics, right? So I need to basically collect as much data about the game as possible and also persist that to the disk, and then also set up a system of triggering those unlocks when those conditions have been met. So the groundwork of that is starting to be laid, and that requires reworking and streamlining how data is moving through the system in a way that's easy to track and easy to discern. So I need to be storing as much data as possible, basically. Now, I did that with respect to some of the context objects through here, streamlined that a bit, but now I have another big thing to do, which is that I need to one big problem with statuses right now, and maybe this is the one we'll work on. One big problem with statuses right now is that they do not track what the original source of the status was. And by the way, all this stuff is probably going to tie into the combat log overhaul as well. So for instance, one big problem with the combat log is that when you apply fire, fire does not trigger until 6 turns later or whatever it is. But the problem with the combat log is it just says enemy board took 6 fire damage, right? And it doesn't know like who originally applied the fire, like which card originally applied the fire. It doesn't know which board originally applied the fire. So there's no way to differentiate between like if you applied fire to yourself versus if enemy applied fire to you. And then there's no way to track like which cards actually were responsible for each chunk of the fire damage. So we're going to need to probably rework the status system a little bit to collect that data. And again, that's going to be useful for the purposes of like the meta progression system, but also it's going to be useful for the combat log, so I can actually say, hey, this card was responsible for 40 of the 100 fire damage that the enemy board took, right? So anyway, let's learn together. I mean, you want to sell 50k copies, looks valid to me, so yeah, let's go for it. We're going to try. It's great meta progression. I really like it, yeah. I'm a programmer at a marketing agency, but we typically do marketing for large businesses and nonprofits that typically have non-trivial advertising budgets behind them. Yeah, that helps. Marketing for games without spending a fortune is a whole different ballgame. Yeah, for sure. Any plans on expanding the combat? Like, I really like how the game plays, but at the same time, I wish there was a bit more to do than just start combat and hope for the best. I mean, I'll have to take a look at how other auto battlers do it, but I think that's just how the auto battler genre goes, right? Like, you set up your build ahead of time, and then you just kind of like hope that you put together a good build. I do have plans to make it a little bit easier to determine what an enemy board is going to be doing so that you can prepare ahead of time if you know that you're going to be fighting that enemy. Or at the very least, you can see what the enemy board is going to do. You can notice, hey, this is actually a counter to my build, and so I'm going to avoid that combat, you know. Binding of Isaac and Halls and Torment, all our mechanics are pretty dope. Yeah. Sometimes I don't get what damage on self means. Yeah, we're gonna hopefully fix all that. Why'd you go C# over GDScript? It's just easier to structure my systems with C# with all the tools that C# gives you. Interfaces, abstract classes, link, all that good stuff. Okay, anyway, give me 3 minutes. I'll be right back and we will continue on. All right, I'm back. Displaying what enemies are in a given region would be a good start to be able to plan ahead. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Haven't played either. What are they like? Oh, the Binding of Isaac and Halls of Torment. I think they're challenge-based for the most part. Tried making some YouTube shorts for my game. Every short has around 1,900 views and 90 subs now. I'm actually very happy for it. Better than nothing. Yeah, you should be happy. Yeah. You got to start somewhere. And 1,900 views on a small channel's video is very, very good. Shorts are great, twin. Okay. All right, so we need to make the damage context source always match whatever board ultimately initiated the damage, with the exception of necrotic. So we need to add tracking for the source of statuses, so player-applied poison can be differentiated from self-applied poison, for example. All right, let's go in. Let's see what we got. So I'm going to probably need to dramatically rework this base status. Let's see. So if I look at like my poison status, for example, you can tell at this damage context, this has by card equals null. So I'm always just, I never know which card is responsible for poison damage. But there is a little bit of a tricksy part here, which is that these statuses can be merged. So when this apply stacks gets called, so if I apply poison to something that already has poison, this apply stacks will get called. And so in here, it just adds the new stacks to the current status. But the problem is, since those are all being merged together, I can't really reliably say where each source of poison came from. So I could receive, this is not actually possible because the enemy faction doesn't use poison, but just for the purpose of example, the enemy faction could apply 10 poison to me, and then I could apply 5 poison to myself, and I'm going to take 15 poison damage. But I don't know like where each part of that poison damage came from. It's just poison damage. That's all it is, right? I don't have an initiator board. I don't know which board the poison came from. I don't know which card the poison came from. And that's going to be a major problem for the purpose of data tracking. So what I probably need to do is I probably need to store that information and merge the stacks in a different way. So what I may do is I may just change this base status here. Instead of taking in an int of stacks to apply, I probably need to create something like a status stack context, something like this. And we're going to do public, let's do namespace game.data.status. We're going to do public record status stack context. And then we're going to do public required int stacks to apply, get init. We're going to do public required base card by card, get init. And then we're going to do public required board initiator board. So we'll start with this, and we'll see what we can do with this. But instead of apply stacks here, what we're going to have to do instead is we're going to have to do status stack context. And then we're going to put the context here. Now we're going to do apply stacks. Alrighty, so the unfortunate thing here now is that this is still being merged, so the stacks here. So I've got the stacks to apply by card initiator board. Now the problem is this still needs to get merged into one damage context object. Yeah, so this is the part where this is going to get tricky. This is the part where it's going to be tricky because I have one damage context object that's being passed through to this board combat component, but this damage, this total damage, may include multiple different initiator boards and multiple different cards. So, how am I going to do this? I don't want to just spin off multiple damage contexts, and the reason for that is because that's going to create multiple combat log entries, which is not necessarily something that I want to do. It's going to create multiple floating text values, but also the poison still needs to work as a unit. Actually, is this even going to work? Let me think. I think it should, actually. This is summing up all the stacks. Poison turns, int stacks, turns remaining. How am I going to do this? Well, what I could do is I could do something like, I could do like a list. So I could do like a list of like damage breakdown context or something like this. And then I could have something like a damage breakdown context, maybe. Public record damage breakdown context. And have something like, well, you know, this is actually going to be really difficult. Let's see. Because shield is going to be a different problem, because if I've got multiple different cards that are responsible for different shield amounts, I think. So if I have one card that applies 10 shield, another card that applies 5 shield, but then I deal 12 damage to the shielding, that means that the full shield from the first card is going to be absorbed, and then the, 3 or 2 shield from the second card is going to be absorbed. So I need to be able to track that too. Well, let's just do one thing at a time, I suppose. This is going to be difficult. I don't even know. I don't know if this is going to be the right approach. Public required. So I could, yeah, pass in a damage breakdown in here. This is going to be tricky. Public required, base card, buy card, get init. All right. Hold on 1 second. Ah, okay, that's better. The sun was reflecting off the snow right into my eyes. Is the rain sounds music really rare to encounter? I only remember hearing it one time during all my runs. No, the rain should be available always. If it's not, then that's a bug. I need to make some longer videos, though I suck at writing, unfortunately. Yeah, writing is hard. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome back. Good to see you. Okay, I'm bored, so I'm playing the playtest. All right, sounds good. Status stack context. Oh boy, this is going to be difficult. Let's see. We're going to rename this one to receiver board. We're going to rename this one initiator board. Wait a minute. Do I not need the receiver board in here? Oh, I'm getting lost. Okay. I think that will work. Now we just gotta fix everywhere with this broken. This needs to be status stack context. Why is this here? This is actually decrementing the stacks here. I think that's okay. So this is going to be context turns remaining. Context that stacks to apply. Oh, that's in a init only. We just set that to so we can change it. I think this can be context.stacks to apply there. Okay. Oh, the duplicate. Am I ever using this duplicate? Find all references. No, that's not going to work either. So I have this snail cat, which is setting the stacks directly. Actually, I wonder if that was even ever working to begin with. That was probably never working, actually. So I should probably actually just remove this set stacks here. Where is this being done? Yeah, I think I should just remove this set stacks. We're going to get rid of this. Because I can't directly modify the total stacks value. Because if I'm going to be tracking each source individually, then yeah, I'm going to need to modify that. Okay, well, we're going to have a lot to fix here. Do I need to duplicate this now, though? Is that something that I need to do? We're going to get rid of duplicate as well. I don't think I should do that. Now I'm wondering if I should take a totally different approach to this statuses system. Because right now these all get merged into one status. And I'm trying to manage the data about individual status applications within the merged status here. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe what I should do instead is I should just let every status application be its own thing, and then it can manage its own data. But the problem there then is I need to be able to get the merged damage context. Let me think. How does the poison work here? So it goes through all the poison, the individual applications of poison. I think I need to rework how this works, honestly. I don't think this is going to work, this pattern. I might have to rebuild this whole system. Although maybe not. Let me think. We don't have duplicate. Let me just clean this up. Everywhere where we have duplicate in a status, we're going to remove that. We're not going to do duplication anymore. Get rid of this. So this stacks then is going to be used for the damage, but I believe this is also used for the UI as well. Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe we just keep going with this pattern, and then if I need to improve it, I will. We'll just do one thing at a time. All right, shield. Yeah, this shield is just not going to work. We're going to need to keep a list of all the shield context. Same with the necrosis. Although this one is a little bit more forgiving because I don't necessarily care. Like, the necrosis is not going to be relevant to tracking like what the source and what the buy card is. Okay. So we still need to fill out the damage breakdown for all these, which is fine. All right. Okay, so all of these are no longer breaking, but this is not going to be correct. I'm on Twitch now. Yes, I am. Welcome, Kanik. Good to see you. Sun and Snow is a very good flashbang synergy. Yes, yeah, true. Hello, Maxwell. Facts, yeah. Hello, Leginger Dev. I'm doing well. How are you doing? Saw your Steam page and went to find you. Looks drop dead gorgeous, very juicy. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome to the stream again. Hello, Owen Zhu. What's up with you? Welcome. So the next big thing to do is we need to do a damage breakdown. So we've got the stacks here, which is the total number of poison stacks that we're applying. So we need the damage breakdown is equal to poison turns dot select. This damage breakdown needs to be new damage breakdown context. So we're going to do new damage breakdown context. What do I need? Initiator board, buy card, and damage amount. So we're going to need initiator board is equal to, this should just be context. Can I do this? Context turns remaining. Does that work? Nope. Tuple.context.initiator board. Buy card is equal to tuple.context.buy card. And then what's the last thing we need? Damage amount. Damage amount is going to be tuple.context.stacks to apply. Okay. I don't know if this pattern is going to work, but we're going to go forward with it and see what happens. The shield is going to be a weird one. Absorb damage. So this is going to need to iterate over all. So I need to keep a list of all of the applied shield, and then I need to keep removing those shields. Yeah, shield is a little bit weird. I need to think about that one. I think this is right, but I need a damage breakdown now. Yeah, so let's do damage breakdown is equal to holy turns.select, tuple.context initiator board, buy card is tuple.context.buy card, stacks to apply. Oh yeah, this is going to be tough. Oh, I need to store all the list of fire applications as well. List, status, stack context, fire stacks, add context, stacks is equal to fire stacks.sum, stacks to apply. Okay, fire stacks select all this stuff. And then bleed, we already have that for bleed, so we just need to do the damage breakdown here. Okay, so maybe that will work. So we're getting the overall damage, but then we have the damage breakdown, which will tell me where each element of the damage came from. So really the only question remaining is like how I'm going to do the shield one. But that's okay. Let me see what else is broken. And then we'll fix those instances, and then hopefully we'll be good to go. Getting close to 100 viewers, yes. Well, if you add up Twitch and YouTube, we're over 100 viewers, which is awesome. Buy card null initiator board, receiver board is owner board. What am I missing here? Oh. Buy card equals null. Do I not have a receiver board? Or do I already have that? Oh, receiver board, initiator board, right, okay. Do I need the receiver board? I don't think so. But whatever. We'll just leave it as is. Okay, so the wand here. So we're going to need to update all these as well. Var context is equal to new status stack context. Oh, var new context. So in here, the nice thing about this context object is now I can also track when artifacts are doing stuff. So I would say that this initiator board is null. The receiver board... Yeah, that's fine. Stacks to apply, status stacks. Buy card equals execution context dot base card. I can just store this. I can just do card there. Anyway, then everywhere we're doing this, we would just do new context. And so the status component will take in... Now, wait a minute here. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see. So we're just replacing this status. This context, apply status context. Ah. Oh, yeah. Is critical hit by card. Okay. All right. And then this base status takes a status stack context. I think that's right. I don't know. I'm going to have to test all this for sure. I also want to remove execution context here. I'm trying to remove the execution context wherever I don't need it, because then I need to like pass that through the whole system, and that's not working well at all. He's a pro streamer. Yes, I guess so. So we want to remove the execution context from here as well. Yeah, we could probably make that work. But anyway, we will worry about that later. Let's just fix where all the errors are. Initiator board and buy card. Status applicator. Buy card is equal to execution context.base card. Initiator board is equal to execution context.source board. I think that's all I need to do there. New status stack context. Stacks to apply final magnitude, buy card, initiator board, source board, receiver board is target board. So we're duplicating some of this information, but I think that's okay. What am I missing? Initiator board must be set. Oh. Initiator board equals execution context.source board. Buy card is equal to execution context.base card. So I'm going to make sure that we update that as well. So we do have some duplicate information here, but I think that's okay because this status stack context is actually going to go into the status and be absent the initial apply status call here. So I'm tracking status applied separately from like a status damage. So that's why those pieces of information need to be kind of like duplicated, but that's all right. That's okay. All right, cannot convert from int. So we're gonna say new apply status context, buy card, initiator board, and then this poison status is gonna need to be new status stack context, stacks to apply final magnitude. Okay. That one's good. We'll go to this one now. Okay. All right. So hopefully this is working. Skeletal hand, context.status.setStack. So we don't have set stacks anymore. I think what I can do is I can just do another application of the status here. Modify apply status context. So we have the apply status context. Status. So this is done here. Modify apply status context. Where is this used? Find all implementations. Poison, bleed, fire, preserve. Okay. So the skeletal hand needs to increase the stacks applied by 1, but I don't know if I can actually do that with the changes that I made now. Yeah, I might have to re-architect how this whole system works. Shoot. So I have no way of reaching into this status context and changing the status stacks, which is basically what the skeletal hand needs to do. And I don't want to call set stacks on it necessarily. I think the big problem that I have here is that I'm using each status as like a parent for all of the contexts that are added to it. So if I apply multiple poison, I just have one poison status that keeps a list of all the statuses. And so the problem is that I don't really have a way of reaching into each individual status stack context. So yeah, I don't know what to do here. I honestly don't know what to do. So using a game engine. Yes, I'm using Godot. Yes, indeed. Welcome, Arturios. Good to see you. All right, well, I actually have to end the stream there because I've got a meeting that I forgot about that's happening in 5 minutes. So I'm gonna go do that. I don't really like committing things that are broken, so I'm going to leave this here. But I think I might need to just rethink about how this whole system works. It's getting a little bit confusing because this fire stat, like these individual fire statuses, these have two responsibilities right now. This is like the parent status for all of the individually applied contexts. So if I applied fire twice in a row, only one fire status gets created, and then it keeps track of all of the stacks that are applied, right? And each stack that's applied has its own context object that tells me which card did this amount of fire come from, and so on and so forth. So that's the first responsibility that it has. It's like a parent for all the applied status context. But then the second responsibility that it has is it actually is the container that initializes the life cycle of that status. So the thing that's getting confused here is that when I had the set stacks previously, that would not have worked if I called it on an existing status. But if I call it on a status that has yet to be applied, for example, in here, so I'm calling this modify apply status context. There's a brand new fire object coming in here, and I can modify that there. But then what it does further down this method is it says, okay, do I already have fire? If so, then just go ahead and apply the new fire here. I don't think that's the proper way to do it. I think what I probably need to do is I should probably streamline this so that I am just working with like this status stack context. But the problem here is I lose the type of what status I'm applying. So yeah, I need to think about this some more. This whole system is like, I just need to inject more data into this system, and that's kind of creating some problems first with respect to how I handle this. And of course, then the shield is going to be a problem because, yeah. All right. Well, it's a mess, but that's okay. Played your game yesterday. It was very fun. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hello, Junie. Welcome. I'm here now. Let me guess. Time to go. Yeah, I'm leaving. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. One of the problems with the answer will come to you in a dream. Yeah. It will come to me in a dream or through brainstorming with my AI companions. Anyway, I got to go now, but thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciate all the support, all the feedback that you're giving, all the super chats and the Prime subscriptions and whatnot. That's very much appreciated. You can join the playtest right now by going to the Steam page and clicking request access. So join the Discord, join the playtest, let me know what you think, and I hope you all have a great day. I'll probably stream later today, so keep an eye on the Discord for that announcement. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.